Hello friends. Today, as you know, I'm always looking for fun watercolors for you. And to be honest, I like these small little sets because they're easy to travel with. I think this one is, I don't know, maybe 3 by 7. And so I got this little set. It was from Amazon. At one point they were sold out. I think they're back in stock now. But what I really like is it's made by Paul Rubens, which I love Paul Rubens. I just think their paints are so great quality. And they also make the MieLiang sets that I talk about all the time. And I use these daily, as you can see. Look how messy. And aesthetically, that may not mean anything for a lot of you, but I like aesthetics. If something's pretty and easy to travel with, I love it. So here we go. I just got these. They're 24 colors total. I believe I'd call them a student grade. They're under $30 on Amazon. Like I said, they're half pans and a student quality. So let's open them up. I think they did come sealed actually in plastic. So this is plastic, by the way. It's not metal. Let's see if I can get it open. There we go. Okay. So they give you this plastic sheet, which is nice. It has all the colors on it. A lot of paints will do that. And it looks like they've got, I can't read them all, some fun colors. They've got your cad yellow, cad reds, lemon yellow, which I like, Chinese white, which typically Chinese white is more for mixing. It's not really like, I don't typically use it as like a highlighter, like the gouache. I'll usually use the Chinese white to mix with my other colors, and maybe we'll play a little bit with that. I really like the cerulean. That's pretty. Cobalt, ultramarine, blue. Their brown choices are raw umber, Van Dyke brown, which I really like, burnt umber, and an ivory black, which is a mix. And I'm sorry, not a mix. They have an indigo, which is a mix. And then the greens they have are sap and hooker's green. So let's try them out. I actually also like this permanent rose. Ooh, I can't wait to try that one out. And the purple, I think it says lake, not lane. I need my bifocals, guys. So I will keep this. As you know, what I love to do is create my own swatch sheet. And so what I'll probably do is create a swatch sheet and maybe put that on the back of it. So they give you, oh, look at that. So I believe what this is for, because I see little spaces here, is to lift out these pans. Of course, it's not lifting out for me, but I think that's what it's for. Darn it. Okay, I'm sure it's user error, but that's kind of cool because you can take out the little pans. One thing I do like too, I've noticed, is I like when there's a little bit of space between each pan, because otherwise it's too easy for me. Maybe I'm a sloppy painter, I don't know, but a lot of times if they're right next to each other, I get them kind of flowing over into each other. So I do like that they give you some space. And they have this little mixing pan. Let's see if I can get this to work for that. Oh yeah, there you go. So they do give you this little mixing pan. It's plastic, which is fine with me. I don't care about that. They're a little bit small for me. As you know, I like my large mixing areas, but that's kind of convenient. I will probably mix in here, and maybe this too, but it is removable. Let's see what else. Plastic top. So let's go ahead. I want to go in and I just want to see how these work for some of the ways that I use these paints, which is going to be, you know, mixing. I want to see their transparency. I want to see if I can do my push and pull technique, and I want to see how they react in water, because those are the ways I use my paints. So let's just check that out. I did look at, because a lot of you asked me about their transparency or light, not transparency, their light fastness. And they do give you that information on this little sheet. So if that's important to you, you will appreciate that about them. But let's just dig right in. Too, I think these would be a great gift. I'm buying all art supplies for my grandkids. Hopefully they're not watching this. I'm sure they're not. And this would be a really great little travel set. And why I like these sets too, because I like to just throw these in my bag and I can go and I have a good variety of colors. All right. So let's get started here. I've got my, as you know, my absolute love. If you're looking for a Christmas present, I could not share this with you enough. This is that MieLiang ceramic dish. I used just little glasses and mason jars for years. And if you've ever spilt those, you know how horrible that is. So I love this MieLiang well. And it just, for me, I'm so into aesthetics and how things feel. And I love that because it just feels like I'm a quality artist, like my tools and supplies are quality. And today I'm going to be using my favorite, as you know, my 8 Velvet Touch Princeton. This is the 8 round again. I love the feel of the Velvet Touch. That's just me. I've heard from a lot of you, you like it as well. And it's got the short handle. So let's just spray these and get them kind of awake. The other thing I will be using is my Artisto pads. Love them for beginners. Can't talk about these enough. As you know, I use the little ones on the rings to keep them like kind of as collections seasonally, but I do use this for my bigger pieces that you see me paint on. Such a great quality, has such a great feel to it, and for me handles water well, which is important to me. And then I've got my paper towel here. So let's go ahead, and I think what I'll actually do, if I was out traveling, I would definitely use these little mixing areas. I think for me today, I'm going to use, again, another MieLiang. I just love these. They're, as you can hear, just quality. And this is a brand new one. Thought it was kind of fun. It looked like a daisy. So I'm going to mix in this. So let's just see. What I want to do is show you, let's first show you just some of the colors. So this is what they call, I should keep out their little color chart here so I can tell you the colors I'm using. Although they're kind of hard to see because I can't see, guys. Let's see, where could I put it so I could see it? I'll keep it right there. I'm really kind of excited to see their what they're calling, let me look here, permanent rose. Let's see what that is. Got some water drops here. Okay. Ooh, I really like that. I like that a lot. And now let's just test the different values, because you know I talk a lot about values. So to me that would be the darkest value, meaning most pigment versus water. Now I'm going to add in a little bit of water and just start pulling this out. Rinse my brush a bit, keep pulling out, rinse my brush, tap, tap, tap on the side, pull out. So look at that. That is really beautiful. And I will tell you, one of the things I love about Paul Rubens, I've been using them for years, hadn't seen this set, which I Googled it and they said to pronounce it, it was like Qiaomei. But if you look at Paul Rubens, they say it's pronounced Qiaomei. So maybe one of you could tell me that. I don't know. Qiaomei. If you Google it, it says to pronounce it Qiaomei. If you ask Paul Rubens, they say Qiaomei. So kind of interesting. But every time I bought Paul Rubens, all their different lines, I've been so happy with the pigments. They're pretty, they very much make sure you know they don't use all the fillers, and they do their best to stick to just those pure colors, which I kind of like a lot. So anyway, that is their permanent rose, which I absolutely love that. I like that a lot. Let's see, this is called their cerulean. And then we'll mix a few of these together. Cerulean is another color I really like. So I'm adding some water to my brush. Some more water, tap, tap, tap on the side. And just keep pulling that out. I really like that too. And you know what? I will tell you, these flow really well. I'm not seeing granulation in here, which for me, I don't like the granulation a lot. So that has some really nice dark, mid, and light values, which to me, I like that. I like getting all of those different values. I think that makes such a huge difference in paintings. Let's go for their, let's see, burnt sienna. Let's see what that is. I've been using that a lot right now for fall. So I'm just going to go into that color. Yeah, that's beautiful. These paints are really rich and vibrant. I'm liking these a lot, actually. And the price point is pretty reasonable. It was under $30. They did sell out. So I just keep adding water to my brush and pulling it out. So you can see the dark, the medium, and the light of that color. And then let's check out their two blacks, and then we'll maybe do a red, and I'll do some mixing after that. So the first one is their mix, and they're calling it indigo. Let's see what color that is. Looks pretty black. It does look like it might have a little bit of blue in it. So kind of like, yeah, it does actually. So a little bit like maybe a Payne's gray, which is great because that's the black color I use. I don't necessarily use black. Let's see what their, this is called ivory black. Now that one is definitely, I don't know if you can pick it up in the camera here, but that one definitely is more of a standard black. This one has some blue in it, which I love. I love using a black that isn't so stark. I just think it's more interesting. So there's the colors. Oh, you know what? Let's try out the red. Let's see. What do you think? I have Cad Red and I have Cad Red Deep, Cad Red Pale. I think I'm going to go for the one in the middle, which is their Cad Red, just Cad Red. Ooh, that is really pretty. It feels like it's quite warm, so it's got some orangey undertones to it. Let's add a little water and see what we can do with the values. I just keep pulling it out. And I make a value chart of all of my palettes just so I can see the differences. So look at those. Now those are the regular colors. The only color we didn't cover actually, let's do that, is some of you might want to see their green. So this is their hooker's green. Let's just put that on here. Beautiful. It's like a emeraldy green, really pretty. Yeah, I like, this would be a perfect color for the holidays actually. That's where I would use it for my Christmas trees and things like that. It's very vibrant. I kind of mixed it too much there. So we're going from dark value, more pigment, a little more water, and a little more water. And like I said, I would suggest you do this with all your paints, these value charts, so you can kind of see what you can achieve. And then just because I'm a total sap green lover, I want to try out their sap green. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty much the regular sap green that you see. And I use that one a lot for highlights. I use my olive green, which we could get if we mixed this with maybe some of one of the browns. But look at that. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of the colors. Oh my gosh, we didn't do yellow. Gotta do yellow, guys. Let me see, lemon. Let's go for the cad yellow. I use that quite a bit. And I promise this will be the last one. There we go. Let's add some water to that. Pull it out, a little bit more water. Yeah, that's pretty true cad yellow, I think. They also have a cad, another one that looks like it might be a little bit darker. A little bit maybe. That reminds me of more of my cad yellow from my Winsor Newton. Has a little bit warmer, oranger. But what I really wanted to do here too is just, let's create maybe a petal and then see how it blends, because that's kind of my jam, right, you guys? So I'm going to pick up a tiny bit. I really haven't even had to use my palette. Isn't this palette fun? Looks like a flower. So of course I like it. So I'm going to go in with a medium value. Let's just create a petal here. Point, press, and color that in. So we've got a little yellow, maybe daisy petal, something like that. Now let's go in with our orange or even our red. And this is where I will use my palette just to make sure I don't have too much on my brush, and tap in and see how they flow. So I'm not seeing a ton of flow. I can, you know, push-pull technique. I love that. Let's try it again. So let's see. Let's go with our green. Let's do a sap green. My water's getting a little dirty, folks. And create a leaf. Point, press. There you go. And let's add in a little bit of blue to that. I'm going to add in a tiny bit more water. There we go. And just see what that does. Now that feels like it got a little bit more flow. And this is actually not doing too bad. There's a part of me I want to kind of blend that out and egg it on a little bit. There we go. So that's pretty. Let's do, let's see, let's try that. What is that? Hooker's green. I don't usually use that green. Point, press. I'm going to add a little more water this time. Point, press. There we go. Now that was actually quite a bit of water. I don't usually use that much. There we go. And we'll add in maybe a touch of brown. This is their, let's see, Van Dyke brown, which I like Van Dyke brown. There you go. And just see how that kind of mixes in there. So there you go. I always create, you know, these stems. So that mixed very well, actually. I like how that mixed. Let's do another one of those. Let's do a stem here. And then we'll do a couple leaves coming off of that. Point, press, point, press, point, press. So we are getting some mixing there. Go in for a little bit more of that. Point, press. Yeah, there's some mixing there. All right, so I like that. Now the last little exercise I want to do, because I like to do a lot of glazing. So what I might do is, let's go in with our yellow. I've got some yellow there. Point, press. And now I'm going to have to let that dry. So we'll have to play with something else while that dries. And then I'm going to try and maybe go over that with some orange or something and see how translucent, although I do see a lot of translucency here, which I like. That's, you know, what I love about watercolors. Okay, sorry, I'm just playing there. Okay, let's add some white to that beautiful permanent rose. And I like to mix a lot of times on my sheet of paper. I just think that's a lot of fun. So we'll just mix. Look at how beautiful that is. It kind of reminds me of a mix between opera rose and some quin magenta. And then let's add some water in there, see what happens. So again, Chinese white, I always think of as not like a gouache where I could create highlights, because it seems to have a little bit more transparency, but it's great for mixing. See that? So it's kind of creating this pastel color. See the pastel look in there? And that's really how I use Chinese white. If I want to create highlights, I'm going to use more of that gouache. So let's try with the red. This time, let's use our cad red. Or you know what, well, let's see, what other color could we use that we maybe haven't used yet? Let's try our ultramarine and just see what happens here. Kind of running out of space. So again, I like to mix on my paper when I can. Now this is showing some granulation. It's a beautiful color. Now let's go in with our white. I'm going to pick up, loading the side of my brush, not going point in because I don't want to ruin my point. And now that's really pretty. I like that. Look how pretty that is. Sometimes when you use white, it can tend to look a little chalky, but I actually quite like this. I think that's really pretty. So hopefully you can see that. Yeah, I think that would be really pretty for a sky. So there you go. Now let's go into, let's see, that's still kind of wet. Let's see what else I could glaze over. We could glaze over this leaf with maybe a darker green. So now for this, I actually would use my mixing palette, because I'm going to take this, let's see, what color is this? I think they're calling this emerald. Let's see what color that is. Yeah, that's not the color I'm looking for. I want more of a browner color. Maybe we'll mix some of that hooker's green with the brown. I want to get kind of a shadowy. So there I've got a deep green. And I want to, that's kind of like almost an olive green. I'm going to add a little bit of sap green. Look how beautiful it mixes. So their colors mix really well. So what I just mixed was some hooker's green, some sap green, and just a tad bit of their brown, which now I just folded that. I think it was the Van Dyke brown I went into. And that gave me that beautiful hooker's green that I love. So I'm going to make a light wash of that, and let's see what happens when I do a glaze over this leaf. See how well it does. So point, yeah, point, I think that does really well. I can still see, which is important for me, the color underneath. So there's that beautiful transparency. Yeah, these have a great transparent quality to them. So I really, really like that. Because for me and my painting, I always start with the light, then I go in with my mid values, then I go in with my dark values, and I want to see the undercolors coming out and showing through. And these do that really well. Let's go in with maybe an orange into this one. So I'm going to pick up, I think that one's called their, let's see, that's actually their Cad Red. And going to put a little bit of that in here. Definitely has an orange quality to it. And a little bit more water. And then create a glaze on the side of this little petal here. Point, press. Yeah, look at that. Now this is a little bit wet, but it's definitely letting that show through the yellow, and I like that a lot. Very, very pretty. Mixes really well. I'm having a very easy time softening that line, which is really important for me. I like to be able to do that. I think I'm going to add in a tiny bit of brown here. Now most of this dried. So their transparency is really, really beautiful. I love that. Not chalky. It's mixing really well together. We mixed that permanent rose with some white, and look how beautiful. We have our cerulean, which I love. You can get a lot of beautiful values. Let's see. I think that's about it. It's great for lifting. I layered, we mixed. I think we covered everything that's important for me. So under $30, guys, I think this is a great little kit. I think it'd be a great gift for a painter. Again, I can't speak highly enough about Paul Rubens. I think all their paints are great. I've got the MieLiangs. I've got their little mini pans, which are quite a bit more money. But I really, really like these. I would say if you want to go one notch up from the MieLiangs, I'd say these are a great buy for 24 colors under $30. They do sell out, so make sure if you are interested in those, you grab them since it's Christmas. I did ask them for a code, and it took a while, but they did send me one, so I'll give you that. But I think it's only good for a few days, so it's maybe 10% off. But I think you'll be really, really happy, and Paul Rubens is a great name. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me. I'll do my best to answer them for you. And I think that's it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and happy painting. I hope this has provided you with another option for paints. And just to note, look at how beautiful these are as I'm watching them. Really, really pretty. Quite happy with this set. All right, everybody, happy painting.